In this video, I talk about how I went from this to this. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Karen and today I will be doing a video on how you can lose fat and build muscle at the same time, which is also known as body recomposition. So before we get into the video, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy fitness content, if you enjoy watching these kinds of videos. I have more videos up on my channel if you want to go and watch them as well. Subscribe to my channel if this is the content that you enjoy. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I post a bunch of fitness content on those too as well. Anyway, let's get right into the video. So I have my little notebook with me right here. Basically, I wrote some notes down of like the main points and the main things that I want to talk about in this video so I don't miss anything. So I will be covering number 1, calorie deficit, number 2, your protein intake, number 3, the style of training you should have. So the first thing that I want to talk about is your calorie deficit. Obviously, in order to lose weight and in order to lose fat, then you have to be in a calorie deficit. But when you're also trying to build muscle, then you don't want to be in too much of a deficit that you're just like hindering your growth and you're rather just focusing on the weight loss portion of it. If you're a newbie to like strength training and you've never lifted a weight in your life, then your calories might be a little bit more towards maintenance rather than having a deficit. But if you're someone that's like intermediate, then having a deficit is recommended in order to lose weight and of course build muscle at the same time. I'm actually in a caloric deficit right now myself, and I'm also trying to build muscle at the same time, but for me it's going to be a little bit harder. So I'm like intermediate, but I can still see changes if I do like the right things. I know like the big question is like, how do I find my calories? I don't know how many calories I need to be eating in order to lose weight and put on muscle at the same time. And basically there is no magic number, there's no magic recipe to know the exact precise calculation of your calories besides trial and error. In order for me to find my calorie intake, I've had to fluctuate between calories and I've had to fluctuate between weight in order for me to find out how many calories I'm actually supposed to be eating. The way that I find my calorie intake is I put in my information into tdeecalculator.net, which is an online calculator that basically calculates calories that you should be eating in order to lose weight, to gain weight, or to maintain your weight. After you put in your information into the TDEE calculator, that's when you basically adjust your calories, because the calories, like I said, they're not going to be perfect, they're not going to be precise, but it will give you a rough estimate of how many more or less you should be consuming on a daily basis in order to lose fat and put on muscle at the same time. My recommendation is always to go 100 to 200 calories below your maintenance in order for you to lose weight at a slow and steady pace, because you do not want to lose weight very quickly that you're also losing muscle at the same time. If you're in too big of a deficit, then you're essentially not giving your muscles any food to repair and grow themselves. And I also mentioned adjusting your calories. The way that I basically adjust my calories is using a scale that I bought on Amazon and weighing myself every day. This is under the same circumstances. So I always weigh myself first thing in the morning before eating or drinking anything. In order for you to adjust your calories and make sure that you're not gaining weight or losing weight too quickly, then I would suggest buying a scale and measuring your progress that way. The scale that I bought is from Amazon and it actually measures like my BMI, my body fat percentage, and a bunch of stuff. Now of course those measurements aren't like to the penny and very accurate, but it will give you a rough estimate, and that's the most important thing, is finding that estimate in order for you to find like the sweet spot to your calories. The second thing I want to talk about is your protein intake. In order to build muscle, you have to be prioritizing your protein. Protein. I say this to everyone who comes to me and asks me questions on how do I put on muscle, how do I grow my butt. Prioritize your protein intake. Protein will make the biggest difference when it comes to your gains. In the beginning of my fitness journey, I had no idea what I was doing, so of course I was not eating the proper amount of protein I should have been eating in order to be putting on muscle, but it's okay. I learned that, and now I know that, and that's why I'm sharing it with you girls and guys that are starting your fitness journey, so you don't make the mistakes that I did when I first started. Now, it is recommended to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. There's other suggestions like, oh, like eat like 0.8 grams of protein per body weight or 1.5 grams of protein per body weight, but I think it is so much easier to just stick to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, because you know an exact measurement. You say you weigh like 130 pounds, then eat 130 grams of protein. Stick to your body weight and stick to that protein intake. They both will equal the same thing. I typically go over my protein intake, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it isn't something that you should be doing like every single day, like, oh, let me go over my protein intake. Like, you shouldn't have that mindset either. Like, as long as you just hit your protein intake, then you're set. Also, do not eat your protein in one sitting. Like, don't just wake up in the morning and say, okay, well, so I don't have to worry about it the rest of the day, I'm just gonna have all of my protein right now. Do not do that. Like, your body can only process so much protein in one sitting. With the rest of the protein that you're like consuming, it's not going to be put to use. Spread out your protein intake with like 3 meals throughout the day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Then have snacks. Have like high protein snacks that will help you reach your protein goal. I know it is hard for some girls to like reach their protein goal, considering the fact that like you've never had to track that before, but trust me, it gets easier, and there are so many ways that you can hit your protein goal, which I actually post a lot of it on TikTok. So a little promo, you can go check out my TikTok. The third thing that I wanted to talk about is your training style and the way that you should be working out in order to lose fat and build muscle at the same time. Now, if you are watching this, I am assuming that you want to grow your legs and you want to grow your butt, because that's basically what my channel is centered upon. So if that is the case for you, then you should be prioritizing your leg workouts, doing legs 3 times a week. And in these 3 days, you should be going heavy. Do not be afraid of lifting heavy. Like, in order for your muscles to grow, you have to lift heavy. I know some girls, they're scared of lifting heavy because they don't want to look like a man. They don't want to look manly. Trust me, you will not look manly when you lift weights. If anything, like, you'll feel so much better and happier with yourself when you start lifting weights. So you should be doing legs 3 times a week. I split up my leg days Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That way I have 1 rest day in between. And I suggest you do the same, because you do not want to do legs every single day or keep your leg days back to back, because you're not giving your muscles enough time to recover. You guys want to see like my training split, how I train to grow my glutes and to get stronger at the same time. So I want to mention cardio. I know a lot of people dread cardio. A lot of people that do talk about cardio say like, cardio so bad, cardio kills your gains, etc, etc. But cardio keeps you healthy. Call me crazy, but I love doing cardio. Cardio is like one of the best activities for me. I just love getting a good sweat on. I just love a good cardio session. But of course, if you are trying to build muscle, you should not overdo the cardio. If you're burning way too many calories, then you're not going to put on muscle. But you should still be doing cardio, at least doing some low intensity cardio if you don't want to do too much high intensity cardio. But a good combination of both is all right. It's not like you're going to be running a marathon. That's not the form of cardio that I'm talking about, but you should incorporate cardio into your workout routine, like setting one specific day for cardio out of the week. And since I am cutting right now, I have incorporated more cardio into like my daily routine in order for me to just make sure I'm in a deficit. If you are trying to lose fat and build muscle, then strength training should be your #1 priority, and then of course add some cardio. Now, I did quickly want to mention, when I do cardio, I do use a Sweet Sweat belt, because this actually helps a ton with water weight, water retention, and bloating. So if that's like an issue for you, then I 100% recommend using a Sweet Sweat belt. I've been using this for, I would say, about a month now, and I can definitely say that my stomach has gotten so much flatter. But along with that, I am eating in a calorie deficit, so keep in mind that my goal right now is to basically lose weight. But I'm telling you, the Sweet Sweat belt definitely helps with bloating and water weight. So now that I covered those main 3 tips, I want to mention a few smaller things to keep in mind when trying to lose fat and build muscle at the same time. The first thing I wanted to mention is buying a scale. Now, I know this is a touchy subject for a lot of people because weighing yourself every day, it can mess with you if you are that type of person. But if you're someone like me and you really like don't care what the number says, you're just using it as like a form of tracking your progress, then I 100% recommend it. If you're the type of person to look at a scale and like have your whole day ruined because of a number on a scale, then I do not suggest you buy a scale. Yes, I think it is important to have a scale. Just measure your progress. I suggest buying a digital scale that syncs to your iPhone, so that way it can track everything like your BMI, obviously your weight, and along with your body fat percentage. Now, I know the number on the scale can be a little intimidating for some people. So if you are the type of person to be intimidated by the number on the scale, then don't buy a scale. So my favorite way of measuring my progress is actually through pictures. If you do not want to go out and buy a scale because you think that's just extra, then I suggest you take pictures, because pictures will not lie to you. When you are comparing a before and after side-by-side comparison, you will see the difference. Now, I do want to mention with the scale, when you are losing fat and building muscle at the same time, the scale, sometimes it won't change. It will remain the same number, but your body is changing. Muscle displays differently than fat, so 1 pound of muscle looks completely different than 1 pound of fat. So the scale, it won't always be accurate. I just like using it as a form of tracking and measuring my progress. But if you're not seeing the scale move, then don't worry about it. Just know that through taking pictures and through looking at yourself in the mirror, that will make the biggest difference, because you will be able to tell and to notice a change. Also, measuring yourself with your clothes, putting on a pair of jeans and seeing if they fit, putting on a shirt and seeing if it fits, like all of those little things will measure your progress as well. So just keep those things in mind. The scale number does not define you, and I know so many people say this, but trust me, the number on a scale, it literally doesn't mean anything. If you look and feel good, then the number should not matter. But I also wanted to talk about patience and consistency. When you're trying to lose fat and build muscle at the same time, the process can get a little bit tricky if you are using the scale. The measuring just won't align, because when you're putting on muscle but losing fat at the same time, the number sometimes it will remain the same. The most important thing is basically taking pictures and measuring your progress through your clothes, through your jeans, through your shirts, through your sweaters. All of those things are ways to also measure your progress without necessarily having to look at a number on a scale. After all, consistency will always be perfection. I always say that, so stay consistent. Just because you don't see results in 1 month or 2 months does not mean that you won't see results long-term wise. So stay consistent, because that is what matters long-term wise. And remember that your fitness journey will never be linear. It will always have ups and downs like I've had with mine. So staying consistent is the best way to see results and keep them long-term wise. So that will be all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this sit down talking video and you guys got something useful out of it. Leave a comment down below if you guys did find this helpful. I would really appreciate that. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoy watching fitness content. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very shortly. Bye bye.